And now I wanted to show you, I talked to you a little while ago about the great interest that took place in France and in Western Europe with Far Eastern cultures, and because they started traveling to France to the exhibitions. Well, not only did the foreign travelers wish to have dolls representing themselves, but the French people became absolutely fascinated with this, and a whole series of dolls were created wearing traditional Japanese or Chinese costumes, and these dolls wearing such as that. Very, very beautifully done, very detailed. I'm going to turn them around because I want you to see this girl. Not only that, she has her typical fan tucked in her tunic and the wonderful embroidery. And now watch when I turn her around. Look at that great hairstyle. There's a form in the hair holding it, and then it was designed to have ribbons and tassels descending from it. And look at how more detailed her tunic is in the back even than the front, with the wonderful embroidery, choices of different fabrics. These dolls were quite popular, sold in the Paris department store catalogs at Christmas time, and they were definitely designed not for the Asian traveler, but for the French buyer. And check the feet. Really important. Bound feet on the little bound heels, silk pants coming all the way around down, and then wonderful embroidered black slippers. And let me just show you her sister very quickly, because we have all of the same type of things. Back of her jacket, very, very ornate, beautifully done. Hairstyle pulled up into this classic style with a form. Not unlike the chignons that were done on forms that you would buy at a beauty salon here in America. During the 50s and 60s, you'd buy them and then you'd form your hair around that. This was formed around the long stick-like apparatus, and then tassels would hang from it. Beautifully embroidered jacket, even a little handkerchief, and her little shoes, once again, on her bound feet. Beautiful tasseled shoes. Dolls were designed as ornamental, not as play dolls. At the same time, we have in Venice what are known as the carved wooden Venice court dolls. And they are all carved wood. They very often have original strings hanging from them because they were designed to be articulated by people doing theatrical performances and all. But they are fully formed bodies, carved wooden underneath, very loosely jointed, and when you're very, very lucky, you will find them in their original costumes and original wigs, such as these two have. Collectors do not seem to despair at the fact that the costumes are very often a bit on the threadbare side, because they would rather have that than not have the doll at all. Very highly characterized faces with very dramatic painting, both of the complexion and of the features. Now, while we're staying with couples, here are two little girls that were made by Marianne Collitz and presented in 1908 or 1909 at one of the international art fairs. The Collitz design dolls are considered by many collectors to be the original art character doll movement dolls made at the beginning of the 20th century, and picked up then by people like Cameron Reinhardt, for example, who did their whole series of art character dolls. And here are two wonderful examples of them in their completely original clothing. One of them has a little label on the sleeve, and we don't know what it means, but we've left it turned up, so maybe someone will know and they'll have a prize that no one else knows about, or maybe they'll share it with the rest of us. That would be great. Two wonderful dolls. Do you love Joan of Arc? Now, I have to tell you, we have had this doll 3 times, but every time we've had it, it's the same doll. We have sold it in 45 years, 3 different times we have sold this doll. I think it may be the only one that exists. The model itself is a very, very beautiful French bisque portrait model from about the 1865 period, which helps to date the doll. And then she has bisque hands. We don't know what her body is because it is under the armament. So it could be a carved wood. We simply don't know, because it was made with this bisque head and these bisque hands and this wonderful armor. To me, without question, representing Joan of Arc. A very, very beautiful and rare, rare piece. Great national hero of France, or heroine of France. And finally, I wanted to show you this doll while we're talking about original costumes. Years ago, I wrote a book on French dolls and folklore costume, and I maintained a really great interest in them ever since, because I think that they represent something that we tend to have lost. Everything has become so uniform in our world. And it was wonderful when different regions of a country had their costumes that identified them as being from that costume. This particular one, all original, is from the Borgoyne region of France, and I love it because of the very, very distinctive coif. Very, very famous. They stopped wearing this about 1900, and there was a teacher, Marie Koenig, who collected folklore dolls from all over France. She would write to the schools and ask them if they could send her a doll. This was back in 1890. They eventually went into a museum in France. Well, she had a letter from one of the teachers in the Borgoyne region and said, well, actually, that costume is no longer made here because the hat, the coif itself, is so heavy that the young girls, when they were wearing it, they were forming like cavities at the top of their head from the weight of the hat, so they stopped wearing it. As you see underneath the hat itself, there is a little cap that's worn, and I'm going to turn it around. I love, by the way, when it's coming around, look at the design along the bottom of the apron, the rooster. It's a wonderful design, and here's how it looks in the back. The other reason the hat stopped being worn was that in order to wear it, it required absolutely perfect balance, as you could see, because if you tilted your head one way or another, the hat would come tumbling down. So whenever I'm working hard on a catalog in the office and I don't want any of the staff to come bother me, I'll just kind of stand in between dolls like this, and they walk through the doll room and they don't even see me. It's wonderful. That's just a little inside joke. So I wanted to show you three gorgeous big girls, big French girls that are coming up in our auction at the Waldorf. And this is a beautiful Bru. Once again, the classic kind of Bru you love to find in a superb dress. I'm going to turn it all around so you can see it all the way around. And then I'm going to tell you something about this little girl. And you don't have to answer me. You only have to answer to yourself. Okay? You love her. She's beautiful. Did you catch how deep her paperweight eyes were, by the way? I'm going to hold her back so you can be sure to see that. Beautiful antique hand-tied human hair wig, wonderful silk bonnet, fabulous dress, beautiful leather gloves, very, very sturdy all the way around, nice leather shoes. She has one problem. I'm going to show it to you now because you love these leather gloves with their beautiful gilt insert, but the leather gloves are hiding a little sadness. And they're hiding the fact that her fingers are broken off. So this is what you have to decide. I ask you. That's a piece of tape holding on the gloves. It's nothing else. I have to ask you this. You're a collector. You can now have a chance to buy this doll, and probably for 30% less than you would pay if she had both perfect hands. She does have one perfect hand, by the way. We found a way, by putting these little gloves over her, that you don't really see that damage at all. Some people will put a corsage there. They will tuck it in a pocket. They will do lots of things. You have to ask yourself, what do you think? Is this something that you would buy? Some collectors will say, no, I only have to have a perfect doll. But more and more, we are finding collectors that are saying, look, this doll, 1885, that doll is now, I can't do the math in my head, but it's like 150 years old. Come on, give it a break. Think of us. What are we going to look like if we made it to 150 years old, 130 years old? It's not going to happen. There will be little flaws. This doll is so sturdy, so perfect, so beautiful, with the little problem on her hand that is very easy for you to disguise, or if you were so inclined to have restored. I beseech you as collectors to take a very advanced view of collecting and start accepting the age problems that occur with dolls. I really do. Now, enough of my little lecture. We move on to another gorgeous doll. This is by Steiner, and it's a very, very rare model by that firm called the Series F, letter F like Frank. and very, very rare to find. She has her original body. She has a wonderful antique costume with the original label inside of Au Bon Marché, which is one of the very luxurious Paris department stores. And look at that wig called extended length, because you know these mohair wigs were made from the underbelly hair of the mountain goats, and that hair didn't grow that long. So what they would do when they wanted to have the luxury wig is they would put extensions in, just like you might get at a salon today. So you can actually feel in here, if you had it, you can feel where the knot is, where the extension was put in. And look at this wig, gorgeous antique wig in a really rare color, extends all the way to her waist. Look at the back of her bonnet, by the way. Very, very fabulously designed bonnet. And great little smirky face. This girl means trouble. Watch out for her. She is such an imp. And wonderful embroidery on the costume and all, and beautiful antique brown leather boots. And then we move on to our final of the big girls, which is so rare and so fine. I had a collector in looking at the dolls from this auction the other day, and she spotted this. This is a doll that's marked AT by the doll maker Tullier. And she looked at this and she said, that is the most beautiful model AT I have ever seen in my life. And she does. She has this something about her with her big eyes, the way her lips are, just a stunning doll. What I particularly want you to notice why I have her here, costume. Look at that costume. It is absolutely unbelievable. Made at the time for her, and the choice of the blending of the fabrics is really beautiful. The basic gold, and then the plaid of the insert and the bottom ruffle, and made with a little bit of gold in the design to match it. Matching lace on the collar, on the cuffs. And look how the bottom ruffle has the underneath ruffle. And you can see, if I hold this up, you can even see how the underlining of the ruffle is made. Very, very beautiful. And let me turn it around now so you can see the back. They have the flounce across the back. They have the ruching right here at the waist, the sewn down pleats back here, not sewn down, but pressed down pleats, and the little flouncy, what I call faux bustle here at the back. Very, very wonderful. The gold cording edges, the gold fabric edges the design of the plaid on the cuffs and on the collar. And look at the bonnet at the back and at the side. And then look at this bonnet on the face. This is an original wig, by the way. And that bonnet, when you talk about how a hat can frame a face, this hat frames this face. It is so absolutely perfect. And then speaking of bonnets, I wanted to show you, to conclude this part of our two-part video this time, our two-section video on the dolls and costumes, and then coming up video on the automatons in the auction. I wanted to show you bonnets that are being sold separately. And look at this from the back. We have the very stiffened ivory form with a wire frame, then ivory satin silk over it, and then this embroidered black tulle with little dots on it, decorated with a maroon velvet edging and little maroon velour, I guess they're flowers, and with little black beads on them. And look at the top. This is all at the back now. And then we turn that bonnet around and look at how this would frame the face of a doll. Absolutely stunning. And now at the front you have the same little velour flowers, and you even have some little leaves, and you have a little green color of a flower, and you have little flowers in there. And this even has the original gilt-lettered label of the milliner. And then we show you another one. This is from the back. This is so dainty. There's no other word for it. It's delicate. It's so delicate, little woven. It's not even tulle. It's like a net. There's little dots woven into it, little pearl embellishment down here, and swathed over the actual wire form of the hat. And then if you see the crown, look at the wire, look at the beading that frames the face, that goes all the way around the crown. Oh, I love these bonnets. And then you come around this way, and here's the inside that would frame the face, and by, again, the original gilt-lettered label of the milliner who made this. Imagine this existing all of this time. It's so extraordinary. And then this one, which I'll show you the inside first, because the inside is fairly simple. It has an actual wide border of lace, and then an inside layer of lace. Well, actually, it has like 3 ruffles, and silk ribbons on top, the de rigueur silk ribbons, and then turn it around and look at the back. The entire wire frame is covered with this band of lace, up and down, up and down, up and down, but not tight, very draping and flouncy and beautifully soft drapes, and then trimmed with these unbelievable little, I guess they're rosebuds, because you can just see the pink peeking out, and then they're all closed up, and the leaves. Just a wonderful, wonderful bonnet. I'm just showing you some of the costumes that are going to be available for you to see, and I hope you enjoyed them. I love costumes, I love dolls, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video.